This is the KitchensinkWP Podcast, episode 496.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silvey, host of the KitchensinkWP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. There are no Wordcamps coming up next weekend, but 2 days after this episode lands, I'll be celebrating my 25th wedding anniversary, so that's an upcoming event from, it depends when you listen to the show, but anyway, happy anniversary to my wife, 25 years. She's amazing. She married me. Yeah, I got lucky. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news, a couple things here. A new Chrome browser extension enables one-click plugin and theme testing with the WordPress Playground. For those who don't know, the WordPress Playground is how you can run and install WordPress in your browser. Pretty cool. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's kind of neat. You know, there's open source code on GitHub. The Chrome extension is called Open in WordPress Playground. It's available for free in the Chrome web store. I've checked it out. It's kind of neat, pretty neat stuff. So yeah, kind of neat. All right, is that it in the news? Yeah, that's it in the news. Kind of a light news week. Anyway, moving on here to segment 2, the meat potatoes. So it's been just over 9 weeks since I did the episode on the 5 steps I was going to do to 9x my content creation. I want to share how you can 9x yours, and 9 being my favorite number. That's why I went for 9x, and I had 9 things in my life, different areas I'm focusing on with all that different content. So I decided to track what I did for the past 9.5, almost 10 weeks now, literally. And I wanted to share how things went and how they're going and thoughts and takeaways, etc. So it went pretty well overall, though there were some lows, to be honest, about things here. And it takes solid effort and push to get past the self-doubt that one may have in sharing too much information online. And when I say one, I mean me, really, in this case. I had some concerns, like, am I doing too much sharing? Am I overloading people's feeds with the stuff I'm trying to put out there? So I have an answer for that in a minute. But as I said, I did track the activities, and I wanted to, because I had this in my back of my mind when I mentioned this episode, or that episode, that I was going to do this and do a follow-up on it. So this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to share with you what I did here and how I tracked it. And it started off a little loosey-goosey, if you will, so bear with me. But so week 1, I tried block scheduling, and it did okay. I put off the writing for a day, the blog post and whatnot. I'm not sure why, but overall I did okay. I created and put out a bunch of content, some social media blogs, and the podcast, of course. Week 2, not as good. And it turned out, I went back and looked and double-checked why in the notes I had here. It's because I went away for 3 days. I went down to the beach, I took it easy, I unplugged, and I rested. And that's just what that was. And I didn't take the time to pre-schedule anything, and I'm okay with that. Okay. Week 3 went rather well. I did send out a bunch of content on Twitter for silly little goals. I migrated my Adam Silver newsletter to a new email provider from MailerLite to ConvertKit. And then I scheduled that to go out for July 1st. And I also scheduled 2 virtual co-working Zoom calls, thanks to my friend Renee. So that was kind of neat as well. And then at this time, at the end of week 3, I realized I needed to do even better in tracking versus just kind of writing out some ideas here, like what I just read to you. I wanted to really track with bulleted lists and an outline and kind of have a checklist every week. So on the whiteboard, I did that, and then I converted it into my drafts documentation here. So week 4, July 3rd through July 9th. Monday, of course, every Monday I share my KitchensinkWP shares and the sponsor spots. I schedule all that out through Hootsuite. I also did Run Adam Run Monday Motivation. I shared the adamsilver.com newsletter, plus the Zoom information with my men's group on Slack, Business of WP, and Post Status. I shared SLG on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn for the 4th of July. I did a special one for 4th of July. I wrote and scheduled Adam Silver article number 1 of 2 for July 5th. I shared virtual co-working once again on Slack for F3 and Business of WP. And I did have the co-working. 3 people attended that first one, that virtual co-working that I did on Zoom. And I also shared pictures of Ellen's card. Well, I don't know why I did that on Twitter and LinkedIn. Shared pictures of Ellen's cards. I don't know what that means. I wrote it down, but I don't know what that means. Interesting. All right. I'm not sure. Okay. So I don't want to go into every week like what I did for each week, but I will say just giving you the overview here. Week 5, I did dip in energy here. Week 6 to 8, much better. 9 and 10, slightly okay, not fantastic. But, for example, week 6, I shared things on personal Twitter, LinkedIn. Across the board, my push was really a lot of sharing things for silly little goals. Okay, I'm going to share that with you right there. But like I said, weeks 9 and 10, I'm just double checking here, not the best last 2 weeks. And I don't know exactly why. I think I know why. Anyway, so wrapping this up in this little storytelling here, the overall goal was to grow silly little goals in that email list, which I did, and by a lot more than I expected to. I'm still looking to grow that. It just takes time. I'm up to about 124, 125 people. I've had some churn. I've had about 10 people leave the list. It's okay. It's going to happen, right? So there's that. I also did write a lot more articles than I thought I would for adamsilver.com, and I sent that monthly newsletter out twice, the first of each month, last month and the month before, which is kind of nice. So what's next with all this? Well, the more sharing of content, of course. And I'm also looking at maybe doing some paid advertising, targeted audiences for people looking for accountability, for fun, for goal setting, that kind of thing. And I'm seriously considering a podcast under the SLG brand. It might be a combination of interviews and solo shows about focus and goals, getting things done, and accountability. So lastly, my takeaways. Now, this is the key here. The internet is a fire hose of information. Much of it not relevant to anyone at any particular moment. It's just about timing. Not everyone sees everything. Most people miss a lot. I know this because I actually told 2 or 3 good friends of mine about silly little goals, and I mentioned it in passing, and they didn't know what I was talking about. And those 3 people are online a lot. So they missed it. When I did share it, they missed it. Once I told them about it, they went ahead and signed up right away, and they love it, which is great. So it's okay to tell people about your projects. But of course, I suggest trying to make the information relevant, informative, useful, versus just selling something. In this case, SLG is free for now. It's always going to be free. I have an idea of what I like to turn into, of course. We'll see what that happens. But no one really wants to be sold to over and over and over again, just kind of drumming in their head. But they want useful, pertinent information to the topic at hand at any given time. So again, it's okay to share. Internet's a fire hose, and most people miss things. And I'm just working past that. Am I bothering people? Well, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the key is to share the information, and hopefully you can help somebody accomplish their goals, whatever that happens to be at any given time. All right, so there's my little takeaway. It's been 9.5 weeks. I'd love to hear if you have any feedback from me, or if you share information on how it's going for you and as far as your content creation as well. So let me know. All right, just shoot me an email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or DM me on Twitter, or find me online, etc. All right, moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week is a tip. It's a blog post over at Hubspot called UTM Codes, How to Create UTM Tracking URLs for Google Analytics. I started diving into this because I want to start doing this as well for multiple reasons. For some of my own content, to see where people are getting to things and from, and how they're finding my content with URL tracking and whatnot. So check it out. Link in the show notes on that as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, like I said, go ahead, send them in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, I would love that. Become a Patreon. There's a link on the show notes. And if you want to sponsor the show, there's a link on the website, a form you can fill out and become a sponsor. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.